It's that time of day again. What time of day is it, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. It's the time of day where Ben Shapiro is once again going to drop the hammer on an arrogant leftist who thinks they can outfox and outsmart not just Ben Shapiro, but reality itself, believe it or not. So we're going to get right into that video. But first, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel. I'm your host, Darian, and let's get right into the video.
So what is your formal education background? So I guess a lot of people don't know what your undergraduate degree was in.
So I was at UCLA in political science and then Harvard Law School.
Okay. So you don't have, you wouldn't consider yourself an expert in sociology?
I don't consider sociology a particularly expert field, but go ahead.
Spicy.
I think I'm able to read a sociological study.
It is a field of study, but so you're not necessarily an expert.
Yes, there are lots of fields of study.
Right. Well, what I'm getting at is there's a lot of topics.
Let's put it this way, I know a lot less about welding than I do about sociology.
What I'm getting at is that you're not considered an expert in sociology, psychology, gender studies, lesbian dance theory, any of these things that you've brought up tonight.
I know a lot more about all those others than lesbian dance theory. As far as, if you want to take issue with the argument, I would urge you not to use the argument from authority, which is somebody has a PhD by their name, they know what they're talking about.
Right. No, I'm not.
That's a dumb argument.
What I'm trying to get at is that the fact that you get any other further education in any of these topics or any of these fields of study.
I don't need a 7-year degree in sociology, no when I hear it.
And granted, that's your opinion.
Right.
But would you also...
Because I'm here, yeah, giving it.
That would mean that you're also offering kind of an unqualified opinion on a lot of these topics.
See, again, you're just making the argument from authority. I don't think slapping a PhD from Ferris State next to your name makes you an expert in all things in the field in which you propose to speak. Okay, the fact is that either my argument's good or my argument's bad. Citing to my credentials is a really bad way of making an argument.
Just a quick little thing here that I think Shapiro's making great points, by the way, and he's squashing this guy. But something that I think he didn't mention was that, this guy is sitting here saying, well, you're not qualified. Oh, what's that guy's qualifications? I mean, I get it. Shapiro probably doesn't want to get into the credentialism, which is fair and a good reason. But I mean, that guy is I think a very simple question to ask that kid is, well, kid, what have you done? What makes you so wise and knowledgeable and qualified, as you put it, to come and speak and share your opinion here? I think that'd be a fair question to ask. But anyway, let's keep going.
It's actually the equivalent of, it's so funny, when people do this, it's the equivalent of actually a religious person saying, citing to the Bible for an argument. I'm a very religious person, right? I mean, see this? It's the yarmulke, okay? I'm a religious person, okay? I never cite to the Bible. The reason I don't cite to the Bible is because that's an argument from authority. Okay, you may not believe the authority to which I'm citing. I don't believe the authority to which you're citing. So you're going to have to make me an argument as to what I'm saying that's wrong instead of just saying I don't have the properly enumerated degree from the institution of your choice.
I'm merely citing academia. If you haven't done any significant study or any type of educational, you haven't established yourself as a PhD or a doctorate in any of these programs, so how can you make a qualified opinion on any of these topics is my question.
Because I have read the studies and I can have an opinion on them.
And that's your opinion and mine was just stated, so thank you.
Yes, that was my opinion.
Quick little point here that I think is important to make, argument from this silly guy here that Ben Shapiro, I think, shut down pretty well. Where have you heard that before? It's like that being, the kid brings up, well, what are your qualifications? You're not a sociologist. What's your PhD? Blah, blah, blah. That gives me trust the expert kind of vibes. Where do we hear that starting in March 2020? And then for multiple years over and over again, trust the experts. Oh yeah, that thing that YouTube very heavily censored that I'm not sure if they're still censoring now, involved a pandemic virus called COVID-19, where you couldn't talk about certain things because they went against scientific consensus, as they call it. You guys remember when the experts were saying that a certain agent that is administered would completely stop infections of all kind? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Point being, this whole argument of, well, the experts and the scientists, and listen to you anti-science dummy, listen to what the experts say. Yeah, it doesn't work that well. And this kid over here is essentially making the exact same argument. This guy with his pea coat. By the way, I'm sorry, Bill. If you dress like that, I'm sorry, but people are probably going to assume you're a jerk. I think it's fair. And yeah, no further comment needed. But the point is, the credentialism, no one's taking it seriously anymore. And they shouldn't. Because like Ben Shapiro said, You don't need a PhD in sociology to call bull bleep when you see it. So let's keep going.
I have privilege when you basically just said that trans people aren't valid. They're not a thing. They're just girls pretending to be boys or boys pretending to be girls.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Oh, someone's excited. Okay.
Biological, but gender is a completely different thing.
No, gender is not disconnected from sex. So.
It's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society. It's
Okay. No, it is not in the mind. Okay. You're not a man if you think you're a man. And I didn't say pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending. Let me amend.
playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing. I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. As far as the actual psychological issues at play, it used to be called gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. Now they call it gender dysphoria. The idea that sex or gender are malleable is not true. Okay, and I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to which you claim to be. You're still a human being, and you're a human being with an issue that I wish you Godspeed in dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are. Let me ask you this. Okay, I won't ask you how old. I will ask you how old you are, okay? Because you're young enough that it's probably not insulting to ask you. So
I'm 22, so I'm probably young and naive, right?
No. Why aren't you 60? Why aren't you 60?
Because it.
And why can't you identify as 60? What is the problem with you identifying as 60?
It's not the same as gender. You can't just.
You're right. Age is significantly less important than gender. You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
You can still legally change it. People recognize.
You can't legally change your age, by the way.
Obviously, you can change your name, you can change your sex, you can change your identity.
Just because you can do things legally doesn't mean that they are correct biologically. You could do lots of things in the past that were incorrect biologically and correct legally. For a long period of time in the United States, sterilization of the mentally ill took place. That didn't make it okay. Skinner versus Oklahoma. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote the decision.
Right. I still don't understand how
Just a quick little point there. I mean, Ben Shapiro made brilliant points right there. I think he's very right. He mentions that court case with Oklahoma versus Skinner about just because it's okay legally, and as in the state endorsed it, doesn't mean it's okay biologically. I know this is a low-hanging fruit to bring up, but slavery, right? It's an obvious example. It's obviously a horrible evil. It was morally wrong when it happened in the United States. It still happens across the world, but that's a different conversation. It was morally evil when it happened. It's morally evil now, but it was fully legal and it was recognized by the state. Much like changing your gender on a driver's license in many states for some insane reason is legal. In other words, a man can declare he's a woman can declare she's a man, or in the case of California, you can declare your X gender. What is that? Don't ask, guys. I have no idea what X is, okay? Sorry, I can't help you there. Yeah, let's keep going.
It's not a matter of open-minded and accepting. I want them to get treatment that they see fit, but that's not involving me. The idea behind the transgender movement as a civil rights movement is the idea that all of their problems would just go away if I would pretend that they were the sex to which they claim membership. That's nonsense.
Well, guys, that wraps up our video. I hope you enjoyed that clip. As you can see, it's there's quite a bit of craziness going on in our culture, but thankfully we've got some warriors like Ben Shapiro to come in and lay down the law on the social issues from time to time. It's very much needed and appreciated. So we hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for future content that we should cover, please do let us know. Thank you all so much.